Hello, and welcome to another episode of This is Rico Trying to Heal My Inner Child. I am Rico, and I would like to remind everyone that I am not a doctor, I am not a therapist, I am not a medical professional in any way, just a regular person trying to navigate through life and trying to navigate what's going on in here. It's getting better and better, but there's still a long way to go. Excuse me. On my last episode, I talked about the similarities and behavioral traits of all the men in my life. And for this video, I want to talk about the similarities in the behavioral traits of the women in my life. More specifically, the more important women in my life. I'd like to start with my mom, my mother. She was just as difficult, just as stubborn as the old man. I truly believe that they were made for each other because they just act the same way. Whenever he would bully and mock, she would just stand right behind him and just support him the entire way. No matter what he said, no matter what he did, even if he was making fun of women, she would just laugh. Even if he was making fun of his own children, she would just laugh. Half of that, I think, is because she was afraid of him. But at the same time, I think she just kind of agreed with a lot of things he said and just kind of went along with it, and no matter what, she backed him up in any situation. He would lecture me over something stupid, and then she would blame me for it. If he got mad at me, she would blame me because I did something that made him mad. Even if I didn't do anything, entirely terrible, even if I didn't do anything at all. If he got mad, she would blame me for him being mad. She always blamed me for a lot of stuff. If there was an issue, it was my fault. If we were arguing about something, it was my fault. Sometimes she would just irritate the crap out of me. So I would be in a bad mood. And then she would come up and say, "What's the matter with you? It's like you're mad at the world." But I couldn't tell her that I was mad at her because neither one of them allowed me to express myself. If I went and told her that she was making me upset or angry, then I would get yelled at and I would get the reprimand. I would get the lecture. And it would be my fault. And that's what happened a lot. So I had to hold it back. I had to keep it to myself. And neither one of them ever defended me. He could have one of his friends come over and that friend would make fun of me and he would laugh. He never once defended me. He never once stood up for me. He never once had my back. Never. If something happened and somebody else got mad at me, he would get mad at me because I did something to make them mad. It was always my fault. And much of the time I felt like I didn't even deserve to exist. Me existing was just a burden to them. They were upset that they had to buy food for me to eat. They were bothered that they had to buy clothes for me. They were bothered that they had to let me use electricity, which that was a big issue. A lot of the times, just having the TV on or having the radio on was kind of a problem because I was wasting their resources. I was wasting their utilities. I didn't deserve it for some reason. Interactions with my mom were challenging because she was either indifferent or she was angry. We never had a heart-to-heart. We never had relational topics to talk about. We never really saw eye to eye on anything. Anything that I liked, she hated instantly. She hated the music. She hated my clothes, the style of clothes that I chose to wear. She hated me having long hair. She just found something to hate in all of it. Instead of just trying to understand, instead of just trying to accept me for who I was, she resented all of it. And again, I was mocked by her. Even though I was mocked by him, I got mocked by her as well. She would call me lazy. She would call me stupid. And she would call me a liar. If she would ask me something and I would tell her the truth, but it wasn't what she wanted to hear, then I was a liar. And she did that to me so much. And I could always tell she didn't say the words liar. she wouldn't use the word liar. She would just say something like, well, if you say so, if you say so. And that always meant she didn't trust what I was saying. She didn't trust me one bit. And, she didn't trust me on a lot of things. She didn't trust me at all. She didn't trust me with my own money. She didn't trust me to go out. She didn't think I could take care of myself. She didn't trust me. And that was quite challenging to have growing up. But I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be back with a little more of This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. Welcome back to This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. This video, I'm talking about the similarities and behavioral traits of the women in my life. The most important women in my life, I should say. I was just talking about my mom and how she didn't trust me. She called me lazy, stupid, and a liar. And she never tried to teach me right from wrong. She never really had time for me as far as just relating and maybe, you know, teaching moments, life lessons, stuff like that. She could have taught me how to open a checking account, but instead she didn't trust me with that and just decided she was going to hold my money for me in an envelope in her room. So that way I had to go through her before I could buy anything because she didn't trust me. She thought I was just going to spend all of my money, which I ended up doing later on in life. And I think I did that out of spite for her, but that's another story. And they didn't they didn't teach me right from wrong. They just kind of threw me to the wolves and expected me to know. And when I didn't, they would give me the reprimand. They would give me the lecture. My dad would lecture me for 45 minutes to an hour, just calling me stupid and just questioning all of my decisions without teaching me, without saying this is right and this is wrong. I was expected to know it. It seemed like they thrived on the discipline. They thrived on the reprimand. They loved talking to me like that. And they would always sit down and I had to stand up like I was on trial and listen and listen and listen. I couldn't say anything. One time I said something and I got smacked. Why? I don't have a say and you're not going to listen to a word out of me because you're just thinking that I'm being, irresponsible and you need to set me straight when you didn't even teach me. So how am I supposed to know? And they both enjoyed that. And she enjoyed it the most. She enjoyed getting angry and saying, well, you can forget about going out with your friends, or you could forget about this, or you could forget about that. And when I got older, her threats were very, very thinly veiled. She never backed them up. She would tell me I was not allowed to go out the next weekend, and the next weekend I would go out. But if they had approached me maybe with a little friendlier way of going about things instead of you're bad, then I might have reacted a bit different. I might have listened to them on certain things. But when you come at me and you just tell me I'm stupid and I'm dumb and I'm ugly, then I'm not going to listen to a word out of you. I'm going to go figure out my own way. And that's kind of what I did. The next women in my life were my sisters. Now, I only have two sisters, and both of them, for the most part, they're okay. My one sister is the only person in that whole family that I still talk to, but my other sister, She acted a lot like my dad. She never took me seriously. I was always just some sort of a joke to her. There was always stupid, sarcastic responses to my questions. I would ask her for a favor, and she would do the where she would go like this, no. And she did that all the time. There was a few times where we got along and had some decent times, but for the most part, it's like I could never get close to her because she just wouldn't allow it. She was like him and would just push me away and make fun of me and make fun of my hair and make fun of my clothes and make fun of my friends, make fun of everything I was doing. I guess she did it to make herself feel better. I don't know. It could fall into that they treated me like that, so I'm going to treat you like that, which is garbage, in my opinion. And again, I was seen as stupid. I was seen as lazy. Uh, they just used that to have something over me, so that they could exert their superiority complex. You know, we were never seen as peers. We were just seen as underlings. We were subordinates. We were just they all just felt like they were above me. We never even had a chance. We never had a chance to relate. We never had a chance to just be ourselves because you found a reason to not like me. You found a reason to push me down. You found a reason always. And we got along okay, sort of, when we were older, but I'm not part of their lives. I'm not important enough to be, anywhere near any of them. So they go and they go do their things, and that's fine. I wish them well. I wish her well. And it's difficult and it's discouraging when you feel like you're invisible to all of them. But when they see you, they only see you as a joke. They only see you as someone to pick on and someone to talk down to. And that was the situation most of the time. But I'm going to take another break, and I'll be back with a little more of This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. Welcome back to This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. For this video, I'm talking about the similarities in behavioral traits with the most important women in my life. And I've already touched down on my mom and my sisters and the difficult relationships I had with them. I will say that women outside of the family were mostly okay. They weren't as mean as like some of the men were. Some of them were, but not as much. But I recognized that I had a hard time interacting with women because of the way those women treated me, the way my mom treated me. I had it stuck in the back of my mind that, oh, she's gonna pick on me. She's gonna make fun of my teeth, or she's gonna make fun of my face. She's gonna make fun of my hair. She's gonna make fun of my clothes. And nobody really did that. There was a few. There were always exceptions, but it made me defensive. It made me just scared to even talk to women because when they act like that, when you're young, you kind of think that they all act like that, and they don't. And they don't. But somehow it was stuck in my head that they were gonna hurt me like the other ones did. They were gonna call me fat, stupid, and lazy, and call me a liar like the other ones did. But made me suspicious, and I didn't even need to be. Now, I'm gonna move on to my ex-wife. And I will say that when we first met, things were great. When we moved in with each other, things were great. We first got married, things were great. It just seemed like once the boys came along, and I'm not blaming them one bit, I would not never do things any different, and I love my boys. As soon as they came along, her views on a lot of things changed. And I was one of those views. Her views on what she was okay with were now not okay. And she seemed to take advantage of me in those situations, like my mother. She, and I really hate saying this, but she was like my mother in a lot of ways. I and I didn't see it at the time. I was always trying to overlook things, always trying to just see things as being better than what they were. I always tried to keep the peace. I always just tried to, let it go. But later on, she treated me as if I didn't deserve consideration or respect. Uh, like my mother, she didn't trust me ever. She thought I was stupid, lazy, and a liar. Not all the time, but, you know, if I sat down on the couch just to relax, she would find something for me to do. And I want to say that I'm not perfect. I never once claimed to be perfect. I am not a perfect person. I have my own issues. I have my own behavioral traits that I wish I could change, and I'm trying to change. And but I am not stupid. I'm not lazy, and I'm not a liar. Just like anyone else, I could bend the truth a little bit, but I'm not going to lie just for the sake of lying. I've known a lot of people that just lie just because they can lie, because they can. I've known someone who's habitual liar, and you could always tell when they were lying because they would not look you in the eyes. And I would tell you that 95% of the time they would not look you in the eyes. But my ex, she made major decisions without me. She made big decisions. Color of the siding that went on the house, the color of the roof, the new roof we got, the color of the new carpet, the color of the paint in the rooms. She went and bought a car for the boys when they were old enough. And I didn't know anything about it until it was time to pick up that car. I could have had some input. I could have talked to people. I could have found us something nicer than what she got. But she didn't care about my opinions or my input at all. She just felt like I was not important enough to make any of these decisions or have any consideration on any of it. Any of it. And that was discouraging. It was very discouraging because I was okay. I was good enough to work on the house and do repairs or fix stuff, but I wasn't good enough to make decisions on the most important things. I was good enough to make money and put it in the bank, but I wasn't good enough to spend any of it. I wasn't allowed. Every time I would buy something for myself, I just got the reprimand and I got the scolding and I got the I was treated like I was going to break the bank because I bought a $10 DVD. And let me just tell you something. I wasn't going to mention this before, but I became a shoplifter because of her. She would just get so upset if I bought something. So I figured out ways on getting things without paying for them, and just so she wouldn't give me a hard time. Now, I don't condone this, and I'm not proud of it, but it was one of the little things I did to try to keep the peace and at least have a satisfaction of having something for myself, even though I had to go about not favorable ways to do it. Not favorable at all. But I did it, and I can't change anything, like I said before. But I'm going to take another break, and I'll be back with a little more of This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. Welcome back to This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. I want to finish up this video um, talking about the similarities in behavioral traits of the women in my life. I was talking about my ex wife and how she didn't see me as an equal anymore. She didn't see me as a peer. She saw me as a subordinate. She saw me as like an employee. And I never treated anyone that way because I hated being treated that way. I hated every second of it. I never treated anyone like they didn't deserve to be here. I never treated someone like they didn't deserve to have a voice or an opinion. There might be opinions that I don't want to hear, but I at least hear them, at least give them a chance. But I didn't dismiss anyone and act like they were just not deserving of speaking. I didn't get to make choices on things. I was just told this is what we're doing. Um, and looking back on one of the relationships I had after my divorce, most of my relationships went pretty well, but one in particular, after a certain amount of time, I started to see the similarities. I started to see her opinions on things come out. I started to see how she thought of me, with comments and with little everyone with the passive aggressive. Tell me what you mean. Don't make these little snidey comments and try to make me feel bad. Because you need to be direct. Be direct. Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you want. Let's discuss it like adults instead of treating me like I was a child. And I thoroughly and truly enjoyed my relationships. But at the same time, I'm also glad that those relationships are over. Because if it would have continued, it just would have continued the same path as the others. And I would have just not been happy at all. It seems like every time I get to be happy for a little bit, it's taken away by something, by someone. And I hated every single second of being treated that way. But they all treated me like I needed to be controlled, like I needed to be reined in and leashed. I needed to be, held in a certain place for whatever reason. Instead of just letting me be someone, I had to be their someone, their version. And they did this without even knowing me. Without even knowing me, they just kind of automatically assumed, oh, we need to tell him what to do just because. In the end, I did distance myself from this behavior. And I will say that I refuse to be treated like this again. But it took me a long time. It took me a long time to get to this point. It took me a long time to learn how to stand up for myself. And it took me a long time to get some self-esteem and some confidence. Because anytime I had a little bit of either one of those, it was seen as arrogance. It was seen as self-centeredness. And what's funny is that it was always the arrogant, self-centered types that saw it that way. If I wasn't going to go along with everything that they wanted, then I was difficult. Their idea of compromise was me just doing what they want. That was compromise. I never really got to meet anyone halfway because they would never allow it. But like I said, I refuse to be treated that way. If I meet someone and I start talking to someone and they even start that, then it's over. There's no use. There's no fixing it. There's no moving on. There's no looking past it. Nothing. It's over. And that's just how it is from now on. And if I have to live the rest of my life alone, then I will. At least I'll have the dignity. At least I'll know that I was true to myself. At least I know that I find me important. I respect myself. I love myself. even if they don't. Because at this point, I'm only going to look out for me. No, I will look out for my boys because I love my boys. But everything I do has to do for me. Everything I do has to be for me because I have to continue on. There were certain times where I just would go along with everyone else and nobody even considered me or gave me a chance. And I didn't want to continue. And I was at that edge. And I mentioned it so many times already. I was at the edge and I didn't want to be here anymore. But I'm still here. But I didn't want to be. But I'm still here. And I'm going to continue to push. I'm going to continue to live. I'm going to continue to be who I want to be. And that's the bottom line. So with that, I would like to conclude this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for existing. The world is a better place with you in it. It really is. All I ask is that you please like, share, subscribe. And let's support each other in this community. Let's take care of each other. Beating each other down emotionally doesn't get anyone anywhere. It just makes everyone look like either mean and insecure. I mean, every time I see someone acting in that manner, it just looks like insecurity to me. And that's all it is. So, with that, I'm going to conclude this video. Thank you again for watching. And I will be back very soon with some more of This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. Thank you for watching.